Hi, good afternoon. My name is Eric Alfagoy. This is my Hospitality 152 Hospitality Human Resources project on talent acquisition. And without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump in. Now, everybody's always thinking when it comes to a topic, what's the definition of it? Well, for talent acquisition, this is what I could find online. But of course, nobody wants to know like what the definition is online because the way it's projected, it's always in a matter where it can be a little confusing. So I'll just go ahead and shorten it up right now. When I say that talent acquisition is all about recruiting, it's all about just recruiting the right people for the right job, making sure that all ends are tied up in the end. Okay. Now, how does talent acquisition impact the hospitality industry? You're probably wondering. When it comes to impacting the hospitality industry, this can go for any kind of job or career field that anybody wishes to pursue. But all it is just that starting from point A all the way down to point Z, the job description is sent out to various job description websites such as Indeed and Monster or whatever kind of job related sites that are out there. The second one that's involved is just for the company or for organization to get their names more out there, such as posting job descriptions on social media or on billboards of some sort, just for anybody just willing to look for another job. Number three, this is when the company does get a potential candidate or candidates, the employer is going to have to go ahead and start a screening process for them before their job interview. Um, After that, once the screening process is done, then we'll go ahead and jump over to step four for scheduling interviews when the potential employer and the potential candidate can come and meet together in person or through Zoom. Number five, discuss the merits of the candidate, choose a finalist, and extend job offer. This is when number four and number five practically connect. Um, This is basically just negotiating over the job, what we can come to terms with, basically as far as the job goes, the pay, the benefits, things like that. Just kind of keep in mind. Um, Number 6 and 7 is all about just process of elimination for number 6, and number 7 is all about getting the new employee on board, welcoming them into the company, and just trying to get them fitted in with their new career. Now, with talent acquisition and COVID-19, there has been severe changes, I want to say, in between it. Um, but for other businesses and companies, they're switching over from in-person interviews now to Zoom calls for an interview, and so basically it's a little bit faster if you kind of think about it, because coming in person will get a more into-depth visual of the person, but also too, if you do it over online, it can be a lot quicker, so then that way the employer can stay at their station while the new candidate can stay at their station, and just kind of just coordinate right then and there, so that way the employer can just kind of get a better aspect of what he can do on his end without ever leaving his or her office. Safety protocols, of course, we always got to stay safe. We've got to think sanitary when it comes to COVID-19. So therefore, the video interviewing software goes hand in hand with the safety protocols. The only loss is just with the handshake, because that is no longer present. However, though, there is a bit of an upside too, because like I said, with the video interviewing software, when it comes to the time to hire between from submitting the application to the screening to the interviewing process is all fast forwarded now, thanks to COVID actually. So there's a bit of an upside and a downside to it. So therefore, it's more accelerated because, like I said, the employer can just go ahead and fast forward everything from point A all the way down to point Z, versus in-person interviews where there's a little bit more involved. Now, talent acquisition and how it's impacted acquiring hospitality candidates. It's just going to go just a brief couple of these items. Labor shortages, we already know that because COVID-19, a lot of people have their choices whether to be vaccinated or unvaccinated, but that's a completely offline conversation. But to be what employers are trying to do though is that they're trying to be more clear about the skills and experience needed for their jobs, meaning that they're trying to make sure that they have the right candidate more than anything ever before, because they just want to get the right person for the right position, so that way that not only are their tracks covered, but also too that they know they have confidence within their new candidate, that based on their background, based off their experience, how they assert themselves, it's all there crystal clear that there's going to be no problems whatsoever. Right now, a detailed job description. With the detailed job description, I do notice that a lot of times on Indeed or like Monster.com, the job description isn't too clear or it's too short. So therefore, a lot of employers are trying to do their best now to try to get more detailed descriptions within their jobs. Let's see. Imagine you're an applicant within the job. This right here is when your employer and the candidate are interviewing with each other. So while the interview process is going on, the employer wants to almost predict what the candidate is and how they're going to be progressing through. It's all about the first impressions. Always they always set the basis for everything. Lastly, clearly communicate with the expectations and the staff. When it comes to that, employers, at least with what they have versus what the new candidates are going to be like, the communication between like the staff and the employees themselves needs to be more further communicating with each other daily about what's expected and what they need from their own subordinates themselves. Aside from that, usually a lot of employers try to look at what they have already, like who thinks that they can get one of their subordinates and try to talk to them and try to encourage them, try to what's the word for it? Try to encourage them, try to go for the next level position if they want to. You can't really force them, but you can at least encourage them, try to motivate them to go to the next level, because in retrospect, it's a lot harder for a more advanced position to get a new candidate versus a new candidate trying to get a lower position, because the lower position is always going to be easier versus the more advanced position. So you get the lower candidate who already knows how the company works or has a good idea of it already and has been working there for say X amount of years or months already, and then just have them try to go through the interviewing process for the newer position. Now, when it comes to affecting the turnover, there are always side effects when it comes to the turnover. Basically, it's bad for the business because nobody wants to put a bad name on their company whatsoever. On top of that too, is demoralizing, distracting. Say, you have one employee who is best friends with another employee who conduct themselves in a professional manner, but they're also good friends with each other. And say one of them searches for another job, then the communication and the production starts to deteriorate little by little because of the fact that the people who they used to work good with are now gone. And so if new people come in, then it's going to take a lot of time, money, and the process will be a little bit slower, and so people will have to pick up more of the slack, period. And last but not least, that if a job has a very high turnover rate, it's going to be a possible domino effect, and people are going to try to avoid that company specifically at all costs just because of the turnover rate, based off of job-related sites such as Indeed or Monster or whatever website that has job searching. How does talent acquisition impact guests or the clients? I don't need to really specify on this question whatsoever, because you can see based off the picture right here that the guests are satisfied, as well as with the employee doing the right thing and making sure that the guests are tended to the whole time, making sure that if any issues are coming up, then that way they're going to get resolved. So all it is about first impressions and making sure that the guests are taken care of, basically, all in all. That way they can get good reviews and ratings, and then more clientele can go ahead and stay or dine wherever they're staying at. Last but not least, why is talent acquisition so important to the hospitality industry? If I had to choose one reason why talent acquisition is so important to the hospitality industry, it's all about just talent acquisition, period. Because it's all about the recruiting. Recruiters always want to make sure that they have the best people for the right job based on their experience, based off their paperwork, how they assert themselves on their appearance, but also too when it comes to the interviewing process, whether it's online or in person, hopefully someday, and just making sure that they have, again, I cannot stress this enough when I say, and I beat this like a dead horse, but they have to have the right person for the right position and role, because you can't hire a laborer and then have them go into a line cook position or a prep cook position, something very low among the chain of command. So therefore, it's all about just making sure that the recruiters have the right people and making sure that those recruiters are confident enough to make sure that they hire the right person in general. And of course, thank you for your time. That was my presentation about talent acquisition for Hospitality 152 for Hospitality Human Resources. And I do want to give one shout out to my professor, Professor Lesson, first name Brian, because honestly, sir, I do thank you for allowing me to go into this class, because I honestly didn't know where I would be at for this semester. So I do want to thank you greatly, and I hope that this presentation was up to par. But if not, please let me know at your earliest convenience. That way I can kind of just get a better view for next time, or in case if I need to do a presentation on anything on hospitality related. Thank you.